everybody. I am Tommy, and you are on the lifeboat. What's happening? Boy, oh boy, this computer is driving me nuts. But are you ready for some fun? Let's do this, because I'm learning. At least I'm trying to learn. Hold on one second. Let's try this right now. Let's see this. Booyah. I'm learning. Let's see if that worked. I think if all goes well. There you go. Look at that. See that? And they said I couldn't learn. Huh? Will you love it? That is a beautiful thing. People, that sunlight's going to wash me out. Hold on. Just keep the old conversation going. World's greatest rock band? No. Sorry about that. So, I'm going to be talking about a very interesting subject today. But first, let's say hi to some people, because it chaps the backsides of so many of the others. It's just so darn fun. You know what I mean? Like they want to stick around and see if I say anything that's going to bother them. They got to stick through me saying hello to everybody I love. Whine a little bit more. I'm glad that you're here spending time with us. Darcy, good to see you. Jennifer Minton, thank you for the kind words earlier. Kevin, good to see you. Karen Pooley, how are you? Auntie KK, Holly, Grace, good to see you. The little Jen that could. I love that. I love that. That is just awesome. Kai Manizy, yes, how are you? I bet you that 34 count felon and rapist will not open up on the sealed files, just like the Epstein list and files. Well, they will stay a mystery because the police were involved and maybe the FBI, the CIA, whoever. You know, this is a really political message. And I'm going to assume that you don't know that we just don't do that, right? What you're going to do now is alienate the half of the people here that lean in the opposite direction. And that's something that we try not to do here. We try to concentrate on the things that bring us together as opposed to the things that separate us. At least that's the goal, right? And let's try to stick with it because honestly, it makes us closer, not farther apart. And that's the goal. Just me being me. Good to see you, Lacey Silver. Donna, how are you? Sherry LeBron, Pam, Robin Bliss, David Clark, True Crime Nut. What's happening? Marie, good to see you. Cooter by the Lake. By the way, if that had been a MAGA message, I'd have said the same thing. Galen, how are you? Tina Greenlee, good to see you. Rona Cooley, B. Hendricks. Estelle Pretorius, how are you? Lacey Silver, good to see you. Krista Melinda. Hey, Cindy. Hey, Rose. Lady Shishi. How are you, Lady Shishi? I don't know if I've ever said hello to you. Davey, Sandy Sue. Good to have you here. Hey, Holly. Jason P., what's up? Scientology. Roberta, good to see you. Yes, Johnny Scoville is in the house. If you heard that, that was my phone vibrating. Shouldn't have that there, I guess. Allison Metcalf Palumbo, glad you're here. David Clark, good to see you. Woofy, the Arabian Bard. Charlie Muffins, what's up, brother? Charlie Murphy, this man has been here, folks, longer than I have. Charlie is furniture, man. He is the mast. He is the keel of the lifeboat. What is happening? Charlie Muffins. This man's a rock star. He sometimes misspells the last name. It has been known to be in the past Charlie Murphy. It's also been known to be Charlie Muffins. But we can go either way on that. Charlie Mullins. Good to see you, man. Hope your bride is doing well. SMG Infinity. Good to see you. What's happening? No, you're good. No apologies required. Fair enough. Kevin Hawthorne, I learned how to load your tomorrow, people. I am going to be debuting some stuff. Hello, Christy James. You caught alive. Good to have you here. I am going to be debuting some info on one of my favorite crew members on the lifeboat, a gentleman by the name of Kevin Hawthorne. He is from Lakeland, Florida, and he has just been the kindest person in Lakeland, Florida forever. And everybody in the city loves him. And he's a story that's man, try to find something screwed up in this story. I defy you to find anything in this that just isn't love and beauty. And he's just a great human being, and I can't wait because we're going to be debuting that tomorrow. And there's Krista Melinda putting up a link to Casper's channel. That's my partner in YouTube. See what I almost did there, people? Huh? Bad habits. No, but seriously, he's my partner in crime. You know the drill. Really, really a good dude. Really, really a good dude. One of my favorite people, in fact. And how often can I say that? I forgot to hit the like button. Well, we're going to let it slide this time. I, for one, love that you acknowledge your followers. For some of us, it's the only community we have. You know what? That's awesome. It really is. That makes me. I mean, I wish that everybody had a lot more connection than this. However, I love that we have this. And for a lot of us, this is the stepping stone. For a lot of us, we're going to start to connect with people in a one-on-one fashion. And then really cool things are going to happen where you start to connect with other people. Wow, look at this. Good news. We got a friend coming over today to look at the issues with our busted water pipes. So hopefully it will be fixed today. You know what? Thoughts and prayers that happens. And I love hearing good news. I really do. That's great, Jamie. I love that. Nothing worse than when weather does this kind of stuff to you. Ohio State girl. Hey, Buckeye, you say. Well, good to have you here. Amy C., good to have you. You were gifted a membership and now made a live bonus special with all the love around. Well, hope you, that may have been one of the lifeboats. We've given away 5 memberships on each of the last 2 lives because I figured out how to do it. Didn't know how. And if you are a content creator, you should look into it because it's an awful lot of fun. Not so dumb blonde, good to see you. Hello, all. Freezing in Florida. Well, there's a headline you don't see very often. Freezing in Florida. I don't know if you saw, but a Florida man was arrested for making some comments about the incoming president and about wanting to maybe having him gone. They're gonna be really tightening up. And I know that there are people who are screaming about the First Amendment, and I am a huge fan of the First Amendment. But the trouble becomes that there's been a pattern of this, and when we do see one of these guys that goes full postal, right, and starts to actually follow through with going from just a really radical ideology to I'm going to try to remove this person from the planet. They usually leave a very large footprint, a very large social media footprint. So if we're not looking for that stuff, I think it's kind of important that we do shag it. But it's a slippery slope. I think it's a slippery slope. Back to family time. Catch y'all on the replay. Well, thank you, Kristen Melinda, and thank you for all you do. Kristen is a super mod, and that's no joke. Truthfully, I know you're tired of me saying this, but I will make references to videos that I did 3 or 4 years ago, and by the time I'm done with the sentence, she's got a link up to it. I don't know how it happens. Really, really bizarre. Yeah, no, threats suck at any time. How y'all doing, Winchester? Good to see you. So we're in a really unusual time, folks, because as you know, we have Sean Combs is sitting in the MDC Brooklyn in the detention center in Brooklyn, and allegedly, he's having a really bad time in there, and we all knew that. We knew it was getting worse. We knew that the inmates who are around him are turning on him. He's now in a place where the people there aren't impressed at all with who this guy is, and they're tired of heat. They're tired of this dude screwing up everything that's going on, and that really kind of makes an awful lot of sense. But while this is going on, there's another case going on in the state of Nevada, and this is the case against Dwayne Keefe D. Right? By the way, for those who don't know, and Casper, I assume, is still here. You can buy a bunch of different kinds of coffee in prison, and coffee is a very, very big deal. You can get Taster's Choice. Like if you're balling, if you got big money, you're probably drinking Crystals, Folgers Crystals, or you're drinking Taster's Choice. And they tend to be slightly different. It's more of a crystallized thing. Yeah, believe it or not, people get really into their coffee. However, if you're just going low budget and you want to get a little something Colombian so that you get some caffeine into your system, how much money from his pocket can an inmate use? Well, that's an interesting question, and I'll get to the question about money and inside. There's only so much you can spend. You're limited with how much you can spend. When people extort him, it's not going to be, hey, I need you to put in a store list because you can only spend $360 a month. It's going to be, you're going to need to send some money to somebody on the street for me or whatever. But if you're buying cheap coffee in there, it's made by a company called Keefe, Keefe, right? Keefe Coffee. And they make a lot of other stuff too. But Keefy coffee, the yellow bag, is kind of the gold standard in especially in the feds. I would say 8 out of 10 inmates drink Keefy. So the Keefy D reference is always kind of funny to me. But Keefy D, after all of these years, is now being charged with the shooting death of Tupac Shakur on the Vegas Strip all those years ago. And this is a really weird situation. And Casper is probably going to be one of the masters of this because of how good he is with the documents and all of that. But everybody who was in the car with Keefy D is gone. They're all dead. There's nobody left, allegedly, from the shooter car other than Keefy D. And this is the most convoluted story ever. You're hearing people talk a lot about this cat having immunity. He had immunity, and he told them all kinds of stuff about what he did because he had immunity. And he wrote a book because he had immunity. He never had immunity. Make no mistake, Keefy D screwed this up in a really big way. Natasha, good to see you. Nat B from Canada, how are you? Good to have you here. Lacey Silver, hey, Russ, what's going on, Russ? I believe we will be seeing Russ this evening for our Night Yard program. That's the three best looking convicts on planet Earth. I can't back that up. But we have all done time, and we do question and answer and talk about all things prison. I know that a lot of people, you're right, how convenient, says Lacey Silver. And this is a problem. Honestly, it is. Guess what? I don't want to be this guy, but I got to be this guy. How the hell do you defend yourself? Obviously, we all want to see justice for the Shakur family and for the world and the people that really dug this guy's music and the people that really were fans of Tupac. This has been an unsolved crime forever, and people would like to know what happened. They'd like some closure on this. But there's nobody, the only story we got to go on is his, right? I mean, from what happened in the car. I'll tell you what, you want to see somebody who I think has got this entire thing in his crosshairs? Huh? Choke No Joke is a comedian and apparently had done some music and some producing of his own as well or whatever. I didn't follow much of that part of the cat's career, but he is a very, very articulate, well-spoken and a strong researcher. He pulls the stuff that he does off the top of his head. He's not working with cue cards. He's not working with anything. But he describes the East Coast and West Coast battle as something very, very different than what the world saw. That this was not the East Coast and the West Coast. This wasn't record label versus record label. These were two cats that didn't like each other. Right? Really didn't like each other. Suge Knight, right? Death Row dude. Did not like Sean Combs. Sean Combs did not like Suge Knight. And then I don't talk about prison gangs. You've heard me say this a million times, right? You know what? I thought that the better way to say it is probably she was the person that I was not disappointed in last night. I thought it was very odd how she was treated by Courtney and by Chris. I think that she's a big old threat and she scared the hell out of him. That's what I think. Did Keefy D take the rap for his nephew? Well, look, here's the thing. This is what is alleged to have happened, and I believe this. The government can't go grab you. Yeah, the date was moved up. Every filing, everything I have seen is that no, it was March 7th is when we were supposed to see the Enterprise letter, and it got moved to February the 1st. That's what we are waiting for. Ohio State girl says Suge Knight might not be the nicest person, but he seems to tell it like it is. I can't answer that. I really can't. Here's what I can tell you. If you start to do research on this guy, you're going to find people that will say, you know what? Suge Knight ain't going to BS you about anything. He's going to lay it down. You're going to hear exactly what it is. And you will find as many, if not more, people who say everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie. I promise you. There's a division on it, and that happens a lot. We live in the day and age where it doesn't take much to smut somebody up. Doesn't mean that everything we're hearing is, might be an absolute fact. Here's some stuff we know. He has been charged, and it has been known to the world that he likes to put hands on women in ways other than loving and affectionately. Right? That's real. I think there's a real respect problem. But I don't talk about prison gangs on here. I wasn't in one. I don't comment on them. It's always been that way. However, when you start talking about the death of Tupac Shakur, it's impossible to not talk about street gangs. If you look at the thumbnail that I put up, you're going to see two images of Tupac Shakur, and in both of them, he's got on a do-rag. He's got on a what do they call it? You know what I'm talking about? The hippie helmet. That thing that Hendrix used to put his LSD on. Bandana. A bandana. Bank robber doesn't know the word bandana. Well, that's just sad. They used to. Yeah. He's wearing a bandana in both of them. In one of the images, he's wearing a bandana that is blue. And in the other image, he's wearing a bandana that is red. And that may seem very insignificant, but it is not, because there were two players in this gang. And one is very fond of the color red, like the color of blood. The other people are very fond of the color blue, right? And that was a real part of everything that took place. And if you listen to how Choke breaks it down, there were a lot of people that really stood to benefit from this kind of a situation. And he thinks that the intended target was always Suge, that it wasn't about Tupac, that it was about Suge Knight, because with Suge gone, it would have done an awful lot with his label, and there's a lot of things that would have come out. Yeah. Now, I don't know. I don't. But what I know is this. What chance on God's green earth is there that Keefe D is not going to say, Diddy did it? Right? With the environment that's going on right now, you're not going to believe what I'm about to say. You're not going to believe what I'm about to say. But I'm starting to believe that it's out of control, and that there's a lot of stuff right now that's being said about Diddy, that people are pulling out of thin air. I think that there's a lot now because of just how far and how fast a Diddy story can go. I think that there are people pulling these things out of the air, and it's a problem. It really is. It's a problem. We know that there's a guy that has sued Diddy for $500 million. He alleges that he actually had gotten a default judgment against him for $50 million or something, and then they reversed it. But he claims that Diddy came up and visited him at the jail. Now, we don't know if any of this is true, right? But it's amazing. People, honestly, I would say 2 months ago, I really lacked perspective on this. And I wish I still lacked perspective on this. But you don't have to have anything to back up anything that you say about someone. No matter what happened with Tupac getting removed from the planet, the stories that all of the people involved in this tell seem to have evolved or changed over time. And there are names that I think should be really, really looked at seriously in this. So now they're saying it was Diddy on the grassy knoll, says Robin Bliss. And you know something? That's not that far off of what I'm getting at. And I think the guy's a bad dude, right? I don't know that we've seen a guy that seems to have captivated the hate of a nation and a planet like he has. Fortunately and unfortunately, he has kind of become the face. He's kind of become the face for this human key thing in 2025. And that's got positives because no one was talking about this stuff the way that they are. But there's also a lot of negatives, right? There's a lot of negatives about that. There's people coming out of the woodwork who are just trying to get paid. We all know that that is a thing. There are people coming out of the woodwork that are just trying to get paid. And there are people who are making up stories for the same reason, because they're trying to get, you've all seen the thumbnails, you've all seen all of it, but it's gaining momentum. Yes, the guy that is suing him is already locked up. I'm also sure that he was involved in some way. But I'm sure simply because there is so much smoke from so many other allegations. But as far as really being sure, right? We're not exactly sure how it went down. There's this alleged $1 million check, right? But you talk about an environment that is just waiting for you to say the two words, right? The whole world is sitting there going like this because we want a superseding indictment. We want to hear that this was Diddy. And it just makes me pause. It just makes me pause. It's, I don't know. I think that this is a very, very complex, there are so many moving parts in this. This is almost, and I'm not trying to, I'm sure I'm going to get hate mail for this, but it's almost like the Kennedy assassination. Bear with me before you get angry. It's kind of like the Kennedy assassination in that if you step back and look at it from a distance, you start going, holy crap, this group benefits really big time if these people pass away. This person was fired by this group 10 days ago, yet they're back here and they're working. And you start seeing all of these pieces and you're like, holy crap, there's way more here than anyone knows. And then you start hearing these little rumors, right? You start hearing stuff like the cops from the very beginning were in bed with one of the dudes that that was there. That guy spoon-fed the theory of what happened that night to the LA police. This is what has been alleged, right? It's kind of crazy. Hold on one second. Just had a thought. How is Diddy, for lack of a better word, okay with being where he is? Did he just give up? He knew he'd get caught eventually. You mean, why didn't he run like hell, right? Is that what you mean? Because I know a lot of people wonder that. Why? Why wouldn't this dude just have run? Because they were on him like stink on poop, right? They were on him like white on rice. This dude wasn't going anywhere that he wasn't being followed, and he knew that. And then he's got his attorney whispering in his ear. We have this thing where we think that, well, if you got a private jet, you just go and like kind of sneak onto that jet, and then you fuel it up and you take off and you're good to go. But you've got a lot of moving parts in that, right? You got a pilot that's going to commit a felony to get you off the ground, a pretty rowdy one, because if they are following you, you hop in that plane and they say, hey, don't take off. Right? That pilot is committing a felony to do that. There's a lot of moving parts to just running like hell. His best bet probably would have been commercial airline, but I bet you that, he had the weight of the federal government on him. I know we all get in our head this was FBI, but this was not FBI. That doesn't mean there wasn't a crap load of FBI agents that were working on this case, because trust and believe there were a crap load of FBI agents that were working on this case. But this is from the Department of Homeland Security. They have a division that handles human tea. It was built for this. This is what it was built for, right? For this kind of crime. And they got the power. You heard it. CNC Music Factory. Agree with you, Tommy. Jag remained poised. Todd particularly was disrespectful. I'm proud of her that she didn't lose her temper and stuck to asking questions. Well, you know something? Jag is not stupid, right? Not by a damn stretch. And there's something. When you want answers to something, and you believe that the answers, that the person's being evasive because they got something to hide, it makes asking those questions so much more fun, right? It really is. I had a really good time going on there. And I want to thank all of you that were there who said, hey, bring Tommy on, because they didn't want me on. I promise you they didn't. But when you started doing the, hey, bring Tommy on, it kind of shamed. And when I say they, I don't mean Sean. I'm sure Sean would like to have me on. We laugh a lot. We have a pretty good time with it. But the other fellas, I don't think wanted me on. Oops, sorry. I think he just figured he'd come out smelling like a rose. After all, he has all of the money to buy it. Didn't turn out that way, though. Glad for that. Now, make no mistake. They also told him, Ross, they also told him, his attorney being they, look, Sean, come out here. You're going to turn yourself in. You're going to go down to the Metropolitan Detention Center, and they're going to book you in. You'll be there overnight, right? Worst case scenario, maybe 48 hours. Then you're going to appear in front of a real judge. He may have even said to him, the magistrate judge, you get a shot at him. That's day one. But the magistrate's probably not going to let you out, Sean. But the next day or the day after, you're going to see your real judge. We're going to put up a $50 million bail package. We've got our own security ready to go, and they're former federal agents. We're going to take away your ability to use any kind of an electronic device that would let you gain access to the internet. We're going to restrict who comes in and out of your house with sign-in sheets. When they said we don't want him anywhere near that island in Florida because, damn, it's an island, right? There's an outlet to the ocean. We're not going to have him there. That's just stupid. And it's not even in the state where he's charged. They didn't want him out on the Hamptons, and they said, wait, don't worry. We got an apartment over here on the Upper East Side. And we'll just we'll go get Sean, into this little, these little digs up there. Probably went and dropped, 10 million or whatever to get. It's probably a friend's, but they had everything was ready to go. Went and had that big long hearing, right? Only to get that. That's your second strike. But he thought he was going home, folks. That's why the first time he got shot down and the judge did this was the first judge, by the way, not Subramanian. But when the judge said, no, I don't think society would be safe if I let you out. When that happened, they had to put him on the unalive watch almost instantly, legitimately. That's one of those situations where this was a dude that went from 2 a.m. I think I want a cheesecake. 2 a.m. Hey, chef, you got porterhouse? Cook me a porterhouse. I want it almost rare. I also want, steak tartare, but just like an appetizer. This guy had people waiting on him for decades. This guy honestly did anything he wanted, allegedly, to the point of saying, I'm going to grab this 13-year-old boy or girl and do what I want to them. I'm going to grab this adult male or female. I'm going to do what I want to them. And when it's over, my minions allegedly will go and either threaten, coerce, or do something to keep this from getting out. This is what's being alleged, right? We're not making this stuff up. We're not. And if they say we're doing this for sensationalism, well, I don't know. Maybe keep your junk in your pants. The stuff that he did was violent. If did he get found guilty, would he get moved to Gen Pop? Of a sorts. He is not going to be in general population by any chance. Never. And by general population, what does that mean? How does general population differ from where? In general population, it means when you get to the yard, there are 8 units on the yard or 9 units on the yard, right? They can go pick a unit, any unit, unit 5. Great, go drop them in unit 5. Doesn't matter who's in that unit. Doesn't matter whether it's this gang or that gang or these people, or you can drop him right in the middle of any unit anywhere in the Bureau of Prisons, and he's just going to walk the yard and be fine. That's called GP, general population. In order to be able to walk GP, your paperwork needs to be good. If your crime has to do with assaulting a woman or a child, you probably are not going to be able to walk general population. That changes a little bit from race to race, but the kind of crimes we're talking about with Diddy, they cannot put him in general population. They wouldn't be able to put him in general population even because of his fame. It's just his fame alone. There's always going to be somebody that wants to, when they get out, say, I punched that dude as hard as I could in the head. Beat Me Up says, would they put them in administrative segregation, ADSEG? Probably not. So there's two kinds of segregation. There's So there's two types of segregation, right? One is administrative segregation, and the other is disciplinary segregation. So you get into a fist fight, you get disseg. If they want to protect you, you would go into ADSEG until they figured out where they're going to put you. So ADSEG normally is you're in the SHU, you're in the segregated housing unit, but you're not being punished. That's what ADSEG is, because segregation always means the SHU, or permanent segregation means you're going to ADX in Florence, or you're going to one of the SMUs, the special management units, or they have another one that they call the communication management unit. But CMU doesn't sound good. Some people say CMU. It's it's another place where you're locked down, and they're just trying to make sure that you're not ordering hits from inside. And you know what? Diddy might be a candidate for something like the communication management unit. We'll have to see what happens. He's not in the SHU. No, currently he's not in the SHU. Currently he is in a unit for very high profile inmates and people softer than hospital cotton. And probably they're that soft because they don't want anybody knowing what their crimes are. He's probably in there with a lot of SMECS people. He's probably in there with some people that looked at inappropriate images of kids, like those kind of people. And people that over time have demonstrated to the Bureau of Prisons or to other prisons, depending, that they wouldn't bust a grape at a food fight. There's no chance in hell these guys are going to buck up and do anything to cause any kind of violence or any kind of trouble or anything like that. That's why they're in that unit. It's a very small unit, and they're not around anybody else. They're segregated, so it's not general population, but they're not locked in a cell for solitary confinement or just you and a cellmate on a 23-1 program. What the boys call a SHU term. 23-1, baby. A SHU term. That's where you get out 1 hour a day for rec. They cuff you. They walk you 40 yards to a little place outside where you're in a cage that looks sort of like tennis court fence. Very tight, tennis court fence, separating you from the guys next to you. And they'll put anywhere between 2 to 6 people in one of those cages. Usually makes for a good battle royale during the morning rec time. And like when I was in the special management unit, I could probably count on one hand the number of times that I went to one of those rec days where somebody didn't stab somebody or somebody didn't beat the crap out of somebody. But we had 6 men to a cage. And you got lifers back there that are just looking for a reason to politic. They're just looking for a reason to say, I want that guy hit. I want to see that dude stabbed. By the way, the guy, just in case Casper's still here, the dude whose name I couldn't come up with the other day was Dano. And he was a member of of one of those white boy organizations from Nevada. He got his, I'm not trying to do the holy crap stuff, but he got his face removed, like the Hannibal Lecter thing. They removed his face in the special management unit in one of those cages, one of those rec cages. I actually saw it. It was absolutely horrific. Yeah, Corcoran had a terrible reputation. Yes. See, you know what's crazy too? I was 2 cells down from that dude. Listen to this. This fool went to prison and wrote a book while he was in county jail. And he didn't write a book like, I want to get this published. He wrote a book like, this is what every brother I ever had as a gang brother has ever done for crime. Here's all of the people that we have had a hand in unaliving. And like he was spun. And I mean spun when he got to the county jail. He had done a massive amount of the marching powder, not the stuff from Bolivia, the stuff from the trailer park. But this dude got so cranked up that he was trying to call talk shows from the county jail. He wanted to go on Oprah. But this book ended up being part of Discovery. And if you're from Nevada, you probably heard the story because it was kind of famous. It got, and you know what? Screw it. It was the A-Dubs was the group he was a member of. I'll throw that out. I didn't get too into it, but that way at least people know it. What's the difference between the place he's at now and where he'll be if he's sentenced, Davey asks. And that's Lisa Trimble, that's an excellent question. There's a huge difference. Where he's at now, there are some people, by the way, there are guys at MDC Brooklyn who have 5 and 10 year sentences. And people go, everybody there is going to be gone within 7 months. That's not the truth. You have to have full-time workers. They're called cadre workers. And those cadre workers don't go anywhere. The special management unit has cadre workers. The communication management unit has cadre workers. CTAC, all of the MDCs, anywhere where there's inmates. You think cops are cooking their food? You think cops are doing their laundry? Right? None of that's happening anywhere. So you can't take somebody that's fighting their case and give them a job where they've got to go and work on air conditioning units all night. You only do that with people that have already been sentenced. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, right? But often it's kind of a place to either hide somebody or reward somebody, if that makes sense. Right? I'm not saying the people that work at places like that are rats, but other people have alleged that. They certainly get a very unusual job from a Bureau of Prison standpoint. But where he's going to go once he gets sentenced, where he's at now, everybody there is awaiting a trial. They're all waiting to go to court. So it's a pressure cooker. And everybody's focus is solely on themselves and whether or not they're going to get a huge prison rip or whether they're going to get a short one. It is all they can think about. And it causes people to do some really stupid stuff. You got guys who are listening to everybody's story. The fellas call it ear hustling. They're ear hustling every story, hoping to hear somebody say, yeah, man, I killed that chick. Like they don't know it, but I killed that, so that they can call their lawyer and go, hey, that guy Schofield, he just said that he did it, man. No, for real. He said that. So if can I cut a deal? Can you get me a couple years off my sentence? And you see it all the time. If you watch court TV, you watch anything. If you're a law nerd, you've seen the inmate come in and he's wearing the jumpsuit or whatever. That's a dude in county jail. He doesn't know that guy from Adam, but he was stupid enough to say to his cellmate, oh, dude, man, I did this. I hope they don't, if they catch me on this, you're going nuts. You're in jail. You want so badly to talk to somebody, right? But if you do, you're in deep trouble. That's a great question. Holy crap, that's a great question. How scrutinized is it where your money comes from on commissary? You'd actually be pretty surprised. You kind of have to be slick. And what I mean by that is this. Let's say Reese and I finally tie the knot and she's Reese Schofield. She puts money on my books while I'm locked up. And I say to her, hey, you got to put money on Casper's books. He's I'm buying some shoes from him. Because I probably would be lying, right? But whatever. I say, now, the BOP sees the name Schofield show up for him and for me. We're both getting hit. They're pulling us in there and they're going, what's up? Why is his old lady sending you money? And that's a write-up. They're going to shut down our commissary. So you kind of have to get it. Caroline in Canada. I'm sorry. Can we get some thoughts and prayers for Caroline in Canada? And Aunt KK says, Tommy, I needed some wholesome connection today. And you have the best people in your chat. Don't I, though? Don't I? Feeling much better now. Thank you to everyone. Well, we're glad you're here, Aunt KK. I am really, really glad you're here. And thank you so much for the super chat. I can't begin to tell you how much I appreciate that. It helps. And I love the good vibes, people. Not sure if you've heard, but been getting kicked in the junk a lot lately. No, seriously, been a lot of junk kicking. Yeah. ASAP Rocky was just chosen for the board of the Met Gala. I want to tell you something. I don't want to be chosen for anything, having anything to do with any of those people or any of those things. This, to me, is not good news. It doesn't make me want to become a cheerleader for ASAP Rocky. Now, I would like to always err on the side of being a good person and moving toward love. So maybe I should be thinking to myself, this guy's going to go in there and shake this up. ASAP's going to go in there and stop some of the craziness that's going on. And and be a voice for the kind of stuff where if he sees the things that are rumored to take place with these kind of people, that he's going to do something about it. I'd love that as an idea. I'd love to believe that we're going to see some warriors wade into the middle of this funk and try to do something about it. But the cynic in me says, so does that mean the egg fit right up there, or what does that mean? I'm always confused on that. So did he bust the egg or did he not bust the egg? Because that's kind of where it makes your head go. And I'm sure that sounds super disrespectful, but that's where my head went. I'm sorry. It made me a bad person. Hey, Teresa Devers, just jumping in. I'm happy to see you, Tommy. Blessings to you and Reese. Why, thank you. I am so sorry to be late. Well, you should be. I'm kidding. Busy Sunday evening around here in the UK. Now relax with you and all the crew. I love it. And I'm just kidding. No one's ever late, you know. By the way, big shout out to the replay crew. We the largest part of our audience does not catch us live. That's just the nature of the beast. It's hard to line up everybody's lives. I do love you guys because the names that I look out, hey Brock Bandy, the names that I look out, I see again and again and again. And you know, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. There are days that you guys are my drug of choice. There are days that you lift me out of places that, you know, like I was talking to Reese and she just said, yeah, well, you'll feel a lot better after you go live. And I was talking about health, right? But she's right. You guys have a way of, if I'm having a bad day, there's not much like the crew of the lifeboat to turn that around. When do you think we'll find out who's going to be taking the stand against Diddy? I think we're going to find that out on the first day of February. That's what I think. I think we're going to find that out on the very first day of the month of February. I need to sign off shortly. Meeting friends, traveling up the coast for dinner. First time I've been in a restaurant in 8 years. This is what I was talking about earlier in the show, people, right? When I said, you know, it may sound sad if someone says the only connection I have, I wish I had $1 for every story like Jane's, where someone says, I just didn't do this. I didn't go out. I didn't go meet with people. We got people that are jetting all over the United States and meeting people that they knew in high school and reaching out and starting to connect, right? And realizing that the opposite of addiction and the opposite of everything else negative on planet Earth can be cured with connection. Racism, get a black dude and a white dude and put them on an island alone where they need to survive and watch how fast they become brothers. It's all of the noise. It's all of the hate. It's all of the BS. But you know what? I love when we come together and we honestly connect and we realize that all of us, right? We all are exactly the same. We really are. You go look at the inside of one of us, and I will defy you to say to me, that right there, that person is Asian. That right there, that person is, you ain't doing that. Good for you. Good for you. And have a great time at that restaurant. I love this. You do know now that you have to come back and tell us the story, though, because it's one of the coolest things I've ever heard. Oh, no. You know how many times this has happened to me? This is, if you've never done this, you just can't know what a horrific feeling it is to look back and go, damn it. And then you got to go and take all of your work out. I'm so sorry. I really am. I am so sorry. DJ Daddy-O just gifted 5 lifeboat memberships. People are turning green. Thank you, my brother. Hope that you are doing well, and I hope your boy is. Please give him my best. Love DJ Daddy-O. You know what? I really appreciate you saying that. I caught a lot of crap yesterday. I caught a lot of crap yesterday from some people for some stances that I took. Thank you again, DJ Daddy-O. And you know what? Look at this, people. These things are flying around like hot sauce packets. Holly, thank you so much. Green people. So thank you to DJ Daddy-O and also to Holly Grace. If you just turned green, they made that happen. Without feathers, good to see you. Yeah, I somebody asked me to weigh in on the thing about the tunnels, and I think I should probably clean this up. I'm not walking this back. I'm not at all. I'm not walking this back. Somebody sent me a link or a text to a link that said, "Here's a person who says that they worked at that Starbucks." And I'm not at all surprised that you can find someone that said that they worked at that Starbucks. I'm not at all surprised to that because the story is in the zeitgeist. It's out here. That story is out. And if that story keeps getting told, and there are people who come down on both sides of it and say, you know what, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Well, if that's the case, and we just keep talking about the tunnels and we keep bringing it up and we keep weighing in on it, if somebody puts up a thumbnail and the title is, right, I worked in the tunnel Starbucks, you got your winner. You got a lot of people that are going to watch it. We are at a place right now, folks, where people are taking leaps, right, with some of the stuff that they're reporting. And I say allegedly a lot. I wish I heard allegedly a lot more. You know, I am repeating things that have been alleged about this person. I'm not going to come on here and say, hey, you know, Jay-Z did this to a 13-year-old girl. It is alleged that he did it to a 13-year-old girl. And without saying alleged at all, you don't need to do a whole lot of deep diving to see that dude liked them young. I don't think I need to say allegedly. He liked them young. It was definitely a thing for that dude. And it seems to be a thing for a lot of people in that industry. Allegedly. It's been alleged by everybody, hasn't it? Going back to the Feld dog, right? How long has Corey Feldman been telling those stories? And how long has he been pretending to be a rock star? You know, no disrespect to the Feld dog, but if you've not seen him smack himself in the face with the microphone by standing on the mic stand, I'm sorry, folks. He's gold. Or what was the name of that festival, Johnny Scoville? It is magic. If you've not seen it, he was opening up for somebody big, Blink 182 or something. I don't remember who he was opening for, but he was opening for somebody that was actually a. Hold on one second. Yeah, this is Cat, and this is one of the theories. Now, these machines that build the tunnels, they set off seismic that like they mimic earthquakes. They're kind of heavy duty, but also this is what I talk about when I talk about suspension of disbelief, and that term most often gets used when people talk about movies. If I watch Superman or I watch Batman, in order to enjoy this movie, I got to pretend that a guy can fly. Right? I have to, in order to enjoy the story, I've got to pretend that this guy can fly and that bullets will bounce off of him. He's also strong enough to lift up a tank and throw the thing a couple of miles. And these are all things that I have to accept. And in the real world, I would not believe that anybody could do that. So I have to suspend my disbelief, right? I was a criminal for the vast majority of my life. And you cannot get someone to keep a secret, even if the secret doesn't exist, even if there's nothing to be a secret about. People are always going to talk. And it would require an awful lot of logistics, not only to build this tunnel, which would require a lot of people building it, tons. This ain't a 4 or 5 man job. And when you have 100 guys working on something, you're going to get a few people that tell people. And if you've got people working in a tunnel, right? Starbucks in a tunnel, watching kids get moved through this tunnel, taking places for smuggling. I don't think you're paying the employee in there $20 an hour. What do you think? You bought $1 million franchise to put in a tunnel, and you got to be paying those people what? I mean, these people who are working there, they can't be normal. They've got to be as evil as Epstein or as evil as Diddy are alleged to be. They would have to be that kind of evil, like the kind of evil villain you get in a Bond movie. That kind of evil, just to be a freaking barista at this place. And if someone gets fired, or you have to, you would need to bump off every employee that tried to quit. Yes, there have been a lot of there's been a lot of talk about who's buying up land in LA. And what I will promise you is this: I am going to chase all of that down. Hold on 1 second. Oh, wait a second. Um, Hey, Tommy, did you know that John Stinson, founder of the that's your uncle? Well, I'll be damned. That's a group of people that I always got along very well with. I really did. The NLR were as far as those gentlemen go, those were as easy to get along with as any of them. Is Diddy sick in at the moment? At the moment of detention, he is complaining an awful lot. Allegedly, yeah, he's complaining an awful lot. I don't think he's sick. I think he is sick. This happens to. I mean, I know that it happened to Casper. I know that it happened to Casper. I know that it happened to me. It happened to everybody that I know. This is the mind. I don't know how to say it nicely. This is the worst thing that is going to happen to this guy's brain or anyone else's. I don't think it's possible. Thank you so much, Arabian Bard. More greenies. It's not possible for me to make you understand the pressure that comes when you're waiting for your fate. You realize how heavy it is where he's at right now? He's not sure if this time next year he'll be on the street making beats in a studio, right? Having freak offs, doing all the drugs he wants with his chef and his home and his Bentley and his Ferrari and his Lambo. And the nicest watch collection that anybody should be allowed to own. Really nice collection of watches. Honestly, it's got a great watch collection. Or if he's going to be sitting in a box, very much like the one that he's in right now. If you've ever seen the shape of the state of Nevada, that's what the shape of the cell is that he's in. They have to take a rectangle and cut one corner of it off. And that corner has to be cut off so you can have the pipe chase. On the other side of that is all the plumbing stuff. So you've got a rectangle, which is not very big anyway, and you take one corner of it and whack that off, put your toilet, your sink on a wall that is catty corner, right? It's cut off. So kind of like the shape of Nevada. That's what he's going to be looking at for the rest of his life. Or he's going to be out doing his thing, right? Being Sean Combs, got a key to the city, doing all that stuff. Giggity! The odds are not in his favor. I'm saying right now, if I were a gambling man, and I'm not, but if I were a gambling man, I don't think that anybody would take any action on this guy. 100 to 1. He needs a miracle. He literally needs a miracle. Maybe the Cassie Ventura tape being thrown out. And if just once again, suspension of disbelief. If we play just for a second and say, you know what? Absolutely 100% he's going to walk. Let's say this guy gets the Hail Mary, right? They fire this thing all the way down the sideline, and it is the Hail Mary. And somehow the Sean Puffy Combs camp manages to pull this thing in, and he walks out. Then what? Huh? Then what? You think this guy could possibly have a life? Think he's going to go back to making music? You think people are going to accept him? If he gets off on this, if there is some way that he beats this, and he has said, allegedly, he has said, we only need one, baby. We only need one. The rest of the world knows I'm a lowlife. I'm ad-libbing that part. But he said, we only need one. We got to taint that jury pool. We only need one. So if he does win, the whole world's going to go, he won on a technicality. We all know what the guy did. He got, what, 30 lawsuits over here that are pending? I'm mentioning one, big deal. Being old English Sean. I think that's humorous. I'm sorry. I really do. I think it's kind of humorous. I don't think there's any chance at all that this guy could walk out. I don't give it 1 in 100. But if he did, his life's over one way or the other. The cat's out of the bag on this. But here's what scares me, folks. Here's what scares me. I kind of feel like they went too late to save Diddy. He's gone. He went rogue. He went way too off the deep end. And who's ever running this show is now going, so dump everything we can possibly dump on this guy. Put him on the grassy knoll, right? Put him at any crime scene you can put him at. Blame every single unsolved SA on planet Earth on him. I feel like it's out of control. And that probably sounds really funny coming from Tommy Schofield. And if you're wondering, no, they haven't gotten to me. I'm not a Diddy fan, nor am I a Diddy apologist. But I think that we're going to have to be circumspect, right? I watched the feed earlier, people, and someone was angry, and I understand that people get angry, but it was suggested that maybe we're just doing this and we're going after people like this. It's a race thing. I'll tell you something, man. This story is this story. I would talk about the Alexander brothers every single day if you could get news out of them every single day, but it doesn't happen. And I will be covering the Alexander brothers trial like you don't know. I go where they are. You know, it seems kind of silly, but in the same sentence, the person said, "Well, just look at what happened with Epstein. With Harvey Weinstein. You know, he's out." This person honestly said on a live, you know, Harvey Weinstein's been let out because he's white. Harvey Weinstein's in prison. People believe Harvey Weinstein's not out. And I saw a couple of you in that live feed, which is why I'm saying it now. Harvey Weinstein's in prison. I promise you. If you have a heart attack and they take you to a hospital, you haven't been released. Anybody that has a heart attack or has some life-threatening deal, they're going to bring you to a hospital. It happened to me when I had my stroke. But trust me, they put a handcuff on your ankle and it goes to the bed. You're not going anywhere. The man is still in prison. He's going to die in there. Off topic. It's okay. I like off topic. Off topic. I saw a patient, Mr. Epstein last week. Before I could think, I said, I knew you didn't kill yourself. Are you kidding? Let me reread that because that's way funnier. Off topic. I saw a patient named Mr. Epstein last week. Before I could think, I said, I knew you didn't kill yourself. Luckily, we laughed so much we couldn't get to procedure. That's a good thing because he may have taken that the wrong way if he was an Epstein with a little less personality. But that is funny. America's dad, Bill Cosby. And you know what? Bill Cosby did get out. But he got out once again. Bill Cosby didn't get out because Bill Cosby was found innocent. They did something wrong procedurally. Now, he's an old man. I don't think Bill was planning on his big comeback, his triumphant return where he was going to do a comedy special on Netflix or anything like that. But it's a little different for Diddy. Diddy's a young man, you know? Diddy's a very young man. Diddy's a wildly young man. Do you hear me? Young. I'm fairly close to the exact same age as Diddy, actually. And why look at me? I'm a young man. Corn Pope, good to see you. You caught that? I thought he was talking about Epstein for a second. And then I was like, this dude's off his rocker. But yeah, Harvey, he's not out. No, he's not. And you know what? People get upset. But everyone who needs it, trophy, Christina Todd, a Chris Todd you can believe in. I'm kidding. I got nothing against the other Chris Todd. I don't. I just I'm a little upset at the way that the questions got answered. I got a lot of really positive feedback from you guys. The number of you that reached out to say, you know what, you asked some really great questions on there when you were able to get on, or a couple of you who said you asked the exact question I wanted to ask. It makes me feel so good. I can't tell you. If I get on a panel, and I think that, look, a lot of you are YouTubers, right? A lot of you have your own channels, and a lot of you have done collaborations with people, and it's when you can ask a question and afterwards someone will say to you, "Ooh, I wanted to ask that." That should be your job, right? You should be on there to ask the questions that the people in the chat want asked but can't ask, right? They're not going to get their comment isn't going to get picked. because the chat's going at 500 miles an hour and you don't want to put $10 on it. And hopefully you got someone on the panel that'll ask some questions. Jag was great at that, right? Jag had questions ready to go. I had questions ready to go because we don't buy it, because it just doesn't smell right. Now, the difference between me and Jag is Jag is in the know. I'm not. I'm just like you all. I am like everybody else, trying to separate fact from fiction, and trying to go find sources that are going to lead us to conversations that I think are fairly solid. Right? That should be the goal. So we look for those. We look for solid sources, and we look for people that we can interview. It's great when you get a Courtney Burgess on your show. That's exciting. And then when the story changes between the show he had with you and the show he had with somebody else, that's a bummer. And sometimes it gets people to question the platform. And that's really a bummer. You got to keep in mind, he was just coming from the grand jury. If I'm not mistaken, it was the same day. So what do we have to go on? This is what we hear. We hear Courtney Burgess is going to come on. He was summoned to the grand jury where he turned over these flash drives or whatever with evidence on them. That's what we were told. So we went on there in good faith asking those questions. Sorry, hold on one second. My eyes are shot. Tiffy Tiff, good to see you. My eyes really are bad today, people. I mean, they're not good. You ever have those days? There are days where, or I just have to go back and get my script messed with again. And that would be such a bummer. It really would. That would be such a bummer. But we're going to see this story start to gain speed, and we're going to need everybody. I'm not joking. Bring it in. Come on. Huddle it up. We're all going to have to start really using our dome. The last thing in the world I want to do is put anyone on blast for anything that was said anywhere ever by anybody. So I will just say that, have you ever been somewhere and actually seen somebody write in the chat a sentence like, why do we hate so-and-so now? Or so now we hate so-and-so? Listen, if there's a group of people telling you to hate so-and-so, or there's a group of people telling you that Diddy did something or whatever, there's a lot of money in stories that make this guy look bad. And we don't need to make any of them up. If you've ever seen me do my show where I talk about talking to kids about drugs, we don't need to make it worse than it is, right? Don't blow the story up to be bigger than it is, because we're losing credibility. That's what's happening. And it's not our fault. As an audience, it's not our fault. But unfortunately, there have already been a couple of characters in this play that are just full of crap. Right? At least one woman, maybe two, and one dude or two dudes. Might even be 2 and 2. You guys can put up a number. If you think that there are some people in the Diddyverse that may be a little bit less than honest, I'm thinking 2 men and 2 women that come to mind instantly. I'm not saying any names, but 2 and 2. 2 and 2. Be back in 2 and 2. You can agree or disagree. All of this division works in the hands of those who do not want the truth out there, says Holly Grace. And you know something? You're exactly right. This benefits the enemy. This benefits the people that are actually teeing in kids. There have been hate is way too passionate for Diddy's dumb butt. Yeah, I mean, that's me too. I'll be really honest, right? I can't stand this guy. But I don't want to just come out and trash him with things that are BS. When we went on that program with him the first time, he sat on there and told us that he had images of Bieber, right? You were there. Rob, you were there. He told us he had images and videos of Bieber in compromising positions with Sean Combs. And he definitely led us to believe that Usher was there and that there were a lot of other people, but he hammered home some facts. And one of them was that there were a lot of underage people. And he hammered home the fact that these people were not willing participants. Sarah says his arrogance grinds my gears. Well, me too. I believe they could be in trouble for this $50 million lawsuit. I want to know what they got. Of all the people, somebody sent me an email about this. That he didn't sue Jag. Right? He's not suing Jag. It's very odd that this is who he's choosing to sue. He's going after Courtney. And look, this is a defamation lawsuit. So someone says, you're doing this, and your defense is, no. What they're saying about me is a lie. If you take the time to then file that, they're going to have to prove that lie. That might be a challenge for them, right? Honestly, unless Courtney Burgess has these tapes that have underage people on them, right? What he alleges, if he has those, would Sean Combs be suing him? I kind of feel like maybe they think this is the weak link. I think he hates Ariel, the attorney. She was in the documentary Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy. And he said some, he didn't watch the drives. Yeah, I'm allergic to cow pucky. Look, man, I don't know anybody. I guess I don't believe that. You can believe whatever you want. I don't believe the man didn't look at the drives. Not if this happened the way that we think it happened. Allegedly, this stuff was handed over with the instruction. If something bad happens to me, right? I'm putting this in your hands, dude. She's in your hands, dude. You're putting this into someone's hands and saying, if something bad happens to me, you need to do something with this. Well, something bad most assuredly happened to her in 2018. Yet he didn't do anything with it then. And he wants us to believe that even after she passed away, right? If anything happens to me, you'll know what to do with this. She passes away in a kind of a fashion that made you wonder. And you didn't run and pop that puppy right into your VCR? That doesn't check out. Honestly, does anybody buy that? That just doesn't make any sense. By the way, I've said it on here and I'll say it again. Don't give me something like that because I'm going to watch it the second you leave. For all I know, you gave me a you-know-what film. Starts with an S, ends with an F. It's a reference to removing someone's life. How do I know it's not a film like that? I'm not holding on to something you give me that I don't know what I've got. That's bad juju. That really is. That's like, that's dumb criminal 101. This is really a great question, isn't it? I mean, honestly, do you think Courtney is part of the ring? I mean, he drives around with pizza on his plate. You know, I struggle. I struggle with that nickname on your license plate. But maybe I live in a different world. Maybe I live in a very different world because to me, once again, I joked the other day and I picked on Massachusetts, but you could pick on anywhere. You know, if you were from Chomo, Massachusetts, and people called you Chomo because that's the town you were from, you got to prison, you would go, yep, I want a different nickname. And it starts today. You can call me Slim. You can call me Slick. You can call me Ace, right? Anything else. Give you another great example. There are guys on the street who have nicknames like Gunner. That is a nickname that people get on the street all the time because if the guy uses a pew-pew, you might be likely to call the guy Gunner. Or if he rides shotgun all the time and literally is, you might call him Gunner, but that means something completely different in prison. And I've seen people come in and say, you go, hey, what do they call you, man? They call me Gunner. And you go, let me explain to you what a gunner is before you decide that that's what you want to call yourself inside, right? A gunner is somebody that masturbates at their window while staff walks by. Is that the name you'd like to go with in here? And usually you'll get a guy go, no, let's pick something else. That's an odd nickname to stick with in light of everything that has happened with that. I mean, this isn't even really considered a conspiracy theory anymore. Everybody kind of knows what's up with this. He should have definitely gotten rid of it after the Pizzagate thing for sure. Why would you keep it when he lives there and in that clique? Yeah, I mean, and with everything going on, you know what I mean? It's not bad enough that you've got this nickname, but you're in a universe, a virtual universe where everybody is talking about the trafficking of humans, about CP, about ritualistic abuse, about all of this stuff, and your I don't know what the right word is for this. Common sense. Your common sense meter doesn't go, ooh. Maybe 6138 BDF would be a better license plate than the one I'm currently rocking. You can't. He says, well, it's been my nickname my entire life. Well, it's time to requisition a new one, brother. Sorry, for real. Maybe go with your first name, Courtney. Can't fit Courtney on a license plate? Maybe just go with some numbers. Wanna Love says, maybe he runs the Starbucks. I'm sorry, but that makes me laugh. Chris, when are Spanx Calhoun and I going to Chicago? It will happen. It really will. It will happen. My next stop is going to be, well, Bug Health was a good guess, but I'm going somewhere else. I just can't remember where. I have something I'm doing coming up here shortly. Guess what else is coming up shortly? I think if not tonight, people, then it will definitely be tomorrow, but one or the other. I am going to want all of you who have not read the real Alice in Wonderland to come on by the lifeboat, and I will read you to sleep with the dulcet tones of Tommy Scoville. Will take you to sleep reading Alice in Wonderland, the original. It has been said, Courtney just isn't giving enough to make us believe him. He goes in and out of topic, avoiding the questions that will shed some light on things. And it was unusual to have him with Chris Todd. I don't know what you would call Chris Todd in that interview other than a handler. And I'm not being disrespectful. I'm really not. But watch that. Chris, if you're listening to this and you're mad at me about this, watch it because it's how it comes off. And I come off this way sometimes. If you're with an interview with somebody and you feel like the person is struggling or if the person's having a bad time, as a speaker, you probably try to step it up a little bit. But in an unusual situation like the one that we have, it kind of comes off like a handler, and it wasn't. I don't know. I'm sure I'm making all kinds of friends with this, but my crew is pretty damn sharp, and like that last comment tells you an awful lot. Chris Todd says he's a whistleblower. I have been a fan of Chris Todd's work in the past. I have been. I think the guy does good research on some things. He really does. I think this was mishandled badly. Bad. Oh. Hey, you are Solely, all right? He dances around questions like Beetlejuice with them chattering teeth. The white shoes? I like the reference, Sarah. Well played. Hey, can we get some thoughts and prayers from my friend? There is going to be a night yard. Yes, there is. Lisa Trimble says, do you think Courtney Burgess was high last night? He looked high to me. You are not the first person to ask me that question. I don't always stay out of these matters. I'm going to this time. I couldn't get a beat. I'm just telling you the truth. I couldn't. I was trying to compare it to other stuff to kind of get a baseline, and I couldn't do that. so I'm not going to weigh in on it. And especially as the captain of the lifeboat or the admiral of the lifeboat, I don't want to put that stamp on there. You are soul. Well, you are among friends, and saying that you're all messed up is probably a good place to start. Sharon Clark says he smoked a blunt. I'm not sure whether or not. Oh, you have a broken hip. Can we get some thoughts and prayers? That is one of the worst injuries. My heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to you. That is one of the worst injuries ever, and I don't want to bum you out, but we don't sugarcoat or lie either. That's a long recovery process. I hope that we can be here for you along the way, because that's tough. No, but I'm not surprised by this. The guy that owns Goya is a stud. No, thank you. I'm glad that you're here, and I really hope that we can at least maybe distract you for a little while. I can't imagine what you're going through, you are soul. I honestly can't. That is one of the worst injuries. And being a freestyle skier, I honestly don't think that there's anything I can come up with that I don't know someone who injured themselves by breaking something or doing whatever. But a broken hip and a detached patella are the two injuries that I've watched happen to people that seem to be the worst of the worst of the worst. So thoughts and prayers go out to you. The guy from Goya has always been a stud. He's done some really, really cool things in the past, and he's gotten a lot of crap for it because we live in a world where people take sides. And if somebody's doing something really fabulous, but he happens to vote a different way, people will hate on that person, which is amazing to me. He's pretty into the whole philanthropic stuff. Ohio State girl says he seemed under the influence. I will tell you straight out. I can't tell you how many of you reached out and said to me, Tommy, you got to admit the guy looks high. Here's what I'll say on this, because again, I don't want to trash anybody. It's hard to get a baseline. I thought, to me, he's looked that way many times to me in the past, and maybe it's me. Maybe last night he was more tired, but I'm not saying, by the way, that he is not. You understand? I am not saying for a second that he's not high. I'm just saying that I'm not the end all and be all to pronounce on it. After we see the Enterprise letter drop, we're also going to see the start of a trial that is way too long in the making. I don't think we stand a chance of seeing any justice at all for Tupac Shakur, for his family, and for the legion of fans who still love him and his music and his message. I think there's going to be a lot of very, very unhappy people concerning the Tupac trial. I don't think Keefe D is going to give us the answers we were hoping for. It's not to say that they may not try to shut this case, but they waited so long. Why? And again, let's do this real quick because we got sidetracked. But the man never had immunity. He wrote a proffer letter. What he wrote in that letter, they cannot use against him. But let's say I write in the letter, I write, Casper and I went out and did this, this, and this. With us was Tommy Scoville, Johnny Scoville, Reese Quibell, and Casper. That was the cast of characters. They can't use what I say and say, all right, but they could now go to Casper and say, we were talking to Tommy and he told us everything that happened on that night. And then you could tell him the story I just told you. And when he decides to cut a deal, you can take what he did. And it's absolutely stupid to think that a proffer got you immunity. And this guy got out, wrote a book. This guy got out and went on with Vlad, right? He went and did an interview where he admitted to being a part of this. I mean, you can't do worse as a convict than what he did. This is, again, you talk about rookie stuff, but this is rookie. Quit snitching on yourself. You did it for the entire world to hear. If you're going, no, Tommy, you've come on here and talked about, I was a thief, people. Right? You got a 7-year statutes of limitations on stealing stuff. After 7 years, I can come on and I can talk to you about whatever I stole. That's not what we're talking about here, man. They ended the life of somebody. Allegedly. Allegedly. Well, allegedly they did it. We know Tupac died. I didn't alleged about that. Unless you think his name is Jamal and that he is, I don't know, saw a great picture of a guy in New Orleans on the on Bourbon Street. Looked a hell of a lot like him. But I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I think to myself, there's no chance in hell if the guy's trying to hide, he's going to hide on Bourbon Street. It's kind of not a great place to hide. Is that Captain Kirk behind you? It is most assuredly Captain Kirk behind me. That is from James Tiberius Kirk, and it is signed. It's I love it. I'm a fan. Didn't he have federal immunity but not state immunity? No, he did not have either. He did not have immunity. Immunity literally means you're immune, like you got a V that makes it so that they cannot prosecute you for that crime. That's not what he got. What they did was, so this is how they do it. You know how you see in the movies and, hey, you'll round up the usual suspects. Okay. You round up the usual suspects. You better have something on the usual suspect. You pull me in and you say, all right, Tommy, we want to talk to you about some stuff. And I go, am I under arrest? No, you're not under arrest. But we just wanted to talk to you. Have a good day. I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk out. I don't need to know what you're talking about. Nothing. Well, it would be a very bad decision to stick around and talk to these people. And most people that are criminals know that you don't talk to cops. It's going to get you hemmed up, right? So what they did is they got Keefe D, allegedly. They got him hemmed up in a great big chemical deal, which included PCP. Once they had him hemmed up, now they could get him in. They wanted to talk to him about the Tupac Shakur shooting, right? And all of the stuff associated with that. And he says, or through his attorney, we'll tell you what happened that day in the car. We're going to put it out in a proffer letter, and we're going to tell you what happened. You can't use that letter against him. They know what happened, but they can't use the letter against him. Now, he was thinking to himself, and I'm not quite sure why, that letter, that proffer, got him immunity, that he could do whatever he wants, write a book, talk about it, brag about it, maybe sell some T-shirts. Doesn't work that way. So now he's going to court. But I don't think, I'm not a law nerd, but I'd love to hear Emily D. Baker go off on this, because I don't understand how this guy can put a defense on legitimately. And I don't think Keefe D is a great guy, folks. Right? This is he's a dude who's in his 60s. He's still gangbanging, right? Still, and there's a lot of death around this dude. If you list off his list of friends, very few of them are still alive. Kind of a tough situation. Love William Shatner. I do too. He absolutely, but you know the old Shakespearean, right? Methinks the lady doth protest too much. Whenever somebody does one of these things and it is so over the top, right? The response doesn't make sense, right? That's not what was that level of vitriol about? Well, they're scared of her. I mean, God help us. All you need to have around is somebody that is actually in the know. I'm a pain in the guy's butt, and all I'm doing is asking questions based on logic. Jaguar Wright's asking questions based on the fact that she knows all of the players personally. You know, she knew all these people. It really is a very different thing, and I think that intimidated. You'll be 49 next month. 49 is a great year. I remember 49. Still a youngster. Oh, no way. That's very cool. The real sassafras. William Shatner lives near me. And I often see him and his family at a famous pizza place by my house. I love that. That is so cool. Burnsy25, thank you for the support, Burnsy, by the way. I really do appreciate that. I wasn't trying to skim over it. I'm not very brave. I'm not a strong YouTuber. Do you know that somebody got that reference? Thank you, Burnsy. Somebody got that reference. I did it the other day, and I thought Johnny Scoville will get this. Nobody else is going to get this. I came on. I said, I got to apologize because I'm not a really strong YouTuber. It's an old reference, but somebody got it, and it absolutely made me laugh so hard. Chris Todd, I think Chris Todd will regret. I think Chris Todd will regret treating Jaguar right the way that he did on Atwood yesterday. It doesn't have a good look. It just looks bad, and you look scared. And that's not a look I don't think anybody, especially in the position that he's in, he needs to come from a position of honesty and maybe a little bit of contriteness. Because look, even if the book's real, even if all that's good, how many people bought books that didn't get them? Right? That's an issue. I know for whatever reason, and I'm not mad at you, right? But a lot of people write to me about it. Like somehow I might be able to get you the money back. I never had anything to do with any of those things, but a lot of you have reached out. So there's a lot of them. Happy birthday, Ohio State girl. Happy birthday to you. And there was somebody else. Who else did you say it was? Was that Hobo? Boho Hobo? Well, happy birthday to both of you. I love that. Yes. Yes. No, you're right. He's in the right place at the right time. You know what? I want beef. I'm sorry, I do. 2 whole beef patties, maybe a little bit of special sauce. I think you're right. I think he's manipulative. Put a 2 in the chat if you thought that he came off as a handler yesterday. Again, and it sounds like he watches, so I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all. I might be able to get the fellas to do the Crim Macarena tonight. I might be able to pull that off for you. They should be able to. We'll give it a try. It should be good for a laugh. Hey, Macarena. Lisa says, I can't wait for Alice in Wonderland. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm really hoping that everybody comes by and falls asleep to it. You know what? It's a win-win because the views. If people do this every night, that helps the boat like I can't explain. And you guys get to hear what may be one of the best books ever written. The number of references to Alice in Wonderland that are made every single day just in popular culture. If you watch a 24-hour news cycle, they're going to say something that is curiouser and curiouser, down the rabbit hole, how deep down the rabbit hole this goes, all of the references that come up again and again and again. It's really a pretty great story, and I'm happy to be bringing it to you. You caught Casper's live last night. It was great. You know what? Casper's a very, very talented dude, multi-talented dude. He's an incredible artist. He's a good speaker, and I'm just proud to be his friend. He pulled out a life. That's a very hard thing to do with the deck stacked against you. And if you've been to prison a couple of times, I don't put this off on anybody, man. I don't put this on anybody because I put myself there. And the reason that I'm treated like a leper by a lot of people is because I did crime, and I get that. But it's still impressive to me when somebody can rise above it. Casper has. I'm proud of the dude. I love him. I really do, and really, really happy to be working with him. Aha! See, I was hoping someone was going to say this. Anyone else think Chris Todd is ex-FBI? Sharon, I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think you might be on the right track. Even if he's never worked for the government, I think you're on the right track, because I think what you're smelling is something's not right. Something about this doesn't smell right. Tommy, when Courtney Burgess got passionate, first time ever, that I've seen, Todd looked panicked and kept trying to stop Courtney from talking. Courtney even lost it when Todd trying to shush him. It really did seem like Todd knows what is hidden. See, I was waiting for someone to say something. Thank you, Sim. I feel exactly what you just said. Yeah, no such thing as an ex. Once a Fed, always a Fed. Yeah. I don't know if it's a Fed vibe or what the vibe is, but there's a vibe, right? There's absolutely a flipping vibe, and whatever it is, it doesn't feel right. And for me, that becomes the rub. That becomes the problem. I used to see his interviews years ago during the John Benet Ramsey situation, and he was good. And he was good. As I've said, I have been a fan of this cat's work in the past. Good evening, everyone. From Miss London. Well, good to have you. There's Casper. What's up, Casper? I was just saying bad stuff about you. To me, it was the last kid picked on every sports team vibe. Sorry. You can be super respectful. I can't. Okay, maybe that was the vibe. Honestly, maybe it was. There's something about Chris Todd that comes off. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Sharon Clark says he's strangleweed. I don't know what it is. I honestly don't. I'm going to tell you when I figure it out, because there's something there to me that just feels inorganic. There you go. Feels inorganic. It feels like he's put there, not he happens to be there. The fight is a tough one, SMG Infinity. It is a very the fight to stay sober is the hardest fight in the world. It is also, without a doubt, the most rewarding. Chris Kaiser says he has created a world for himself where he's self-important. Yeah, you know what? And in the know. Feels fake to me. I think Chris is on to something. I really do. Everybody keeps saying, they keep pulling him back in. I think he likes being pulled back in. I think he likes being the center of this. I think he makes references occasionally to the amount of views and all of this stuff. And I'm sticking with this. I'm sorry, but I think it's a money grab. Casper says, shiesty for sure. Yeah. It feels fake to me. I agree with you. It feels unauthentic, and it feels self-centered. And I think that Courtney Burgess has had enough connection within the industry for Chris Todd to look at him and go, this guy's perfect. I can use this guy to get done what I want to get done, which is to release this book. Not once, but twice. And apparently round 3. Still just the same printing, but they're back up and running on the fly-by-night press radio. I'm being a wise guy, but wherever he was selling it, I certainly had not heard of it before. It was not one of the things that is going to jump out at you. He reminds you of a used book salesman. You know what? If you have a microphone, go ahead and drop it. A used book salesman. That's pretty good, actually. That's pretty good. But I think Chris nailed it. I think Chris Kaiser nailed it. And I have said this a lot lately, but there is am I the only one who doesn't understand the book thing? You mean, so They released a book that they claimed to be The Last Words of Kim Porter. They made hundreds of thousands of dollars on it. It shot up to become Amazon's #1 selling book. They, the family of Kim Porter, particularly the love of her life, Albie Shore, stepped up and said, this is not Kim's words, and they shouldn't be profiting from this. Amazon stepped in, took the book off. After that had happened, Courtney had also released the same book, but without the redacted words. Maybe it was the other way around. One of them had the names redacted. The other one did not have the names redacted. But it was the same book. And allegedly, they made it in the ballpark of $500,000 off of it. Well, that's a lot of money, people. It's a lot of reasons to maybe not do the right thing. And I'm not saying that they're both lying. I have been a fan of Chris Todd's work in the past. I think the rollout for this book was handled really poorly, and I kind of expressed that. And I was hoping to get some answers as to why it was messed up as much as it was. But they can't answer the important stuff. Joyce, you're right. I mean, I get it. She says, CB has said in too many interviews, F it. I'll just say it. Chris knows loose lips sink ships in their situation. I think that you're probably right? But what is their situation? That's the question, right? Joyce, that's the question. What everybody wants to know is, what is your situation? Because it's kind of been purported to us that the situation was, if something bad happens to me, you know what to do with this, right? Take it to the news, take it to whoever. If something bad happens to me, sell a book. Maybe. I mean, you reached a lot of people. You reached a lot of people with that book. But I think you could have reached more people if you didn't charge for it. That might have been a thing. But this was a moneymaker. And he lamented in the interview yesterday, that, boy, we could have made a lot more. We could have made a lot more if it wasn't for that Albie Shore guy, kind of shutting that down. Thank you, Laura. Very kind. Great to have you here. An unseasoned salad. Well, there you go. Joe Mama. The only salad I don't like is a word salad. Well, you got a lot of it yesterday. I'm very, very happy that I was able to at least get a couple of questions in there that I forced people to not answer, and not answering the question, Pinky in the brain, well played. Not answering the question in and of itself was an answer. You follow me? If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice, that kind of thing. Well, choosing not to answer was an answer. Them sidestepping it. And, for them to say, this is kind of frustrating too, right? Because do you remember the answer to me, right? You guys do remember what he said to me? What he said to me is, Tommy, you're asking all the right questions. And what I'd like to say is, every single person on my channel, right, the crew of the Lifeboat, are all asking the exact same questions, right? Don't make it sound like I split the atom here, or that I'm light years ahead of every single this. And this is what I was trying to explain to him in the questions. This isn't CNN where people are just going to listen and move on. This is a group of people where our crew on this channel are going to deep dive. They're going to look at all of this stuff. They're going to study it. They're going to find out what's naughty and nice, right? Yeah. The voice of reason. Well, I try. I don't know. So there's just not enough love in the world. It's depressing sometimes, folks. Sometimes it really is just depressing. But we're gonna be revisiting this a lot, because the case of Tupac is going to come forward, and we really got to be on it. Because I'll tell you something, I'm gonna put a case out of who I think did it, and it might blow you away. Unless you watch Choke No Joke, because I think he's nailed this. I think his theories are the best. You may want to go and check them out, because at some point I'm going to be breaking them down on a whiteboard, because he did a hell of a job as far as TD fakes his twin brother. You know what? I can't believe that you got to almost tip your hat that that Mr. Atwood actually asked the question when someone did it for the super chat. Is it alleged that the diddler was clapping your butt cheeks or something along those lines? It's pretty funny watching him have to read something he doesn't want to. Just made me laugh. Yeah, Chris going around like patting people on the back. It was weird. You made French onion soup? Oh wow. I love French onion soup. One of my favorite things in the world. Put the little piece of crouton of the bread there on the top, and then you hit it with the melted cheese. Jamil Peterson, the comedian. Good, good. All right. On that note, probably going to be wrapping this bad boy up, people. I'm going to be back for Night Yard this evening, and you may want to go over and check me out on the We Do a Sobriety Sunday on Chase the Heat. So if you want to hear a little bit of sobriety stuff, and you're liable to see a very, very small white fluffy cat in a black basket. A liar can never tell the same story twice. I think Courtney forgets we watched the previous interview. How do you not mention what a victim you were of Diddy's until the very end? Right? No. True Crime Nut. You come by tonight, right? And we'll have to ask you, we'll let you ask any questions you need so that we can get you up to speed. Because I do want you to kind of, you can't get my email to work, Barbara Kohler? Well, that just sucks. Well, why don't you send me an email? TommyScoville@gmail.com, you liar head. You're not being honest, and that's not fun. But you got your point, didn't you? Right? You got your point. And I hope you enjoyed it. TommyScoville@gmail.com. All right, people. I will see you tonight on the Night Yard. Between now and then, reach out and try to save somebody. All right? Bye-bye. I don't do the foolishness, people. I really don't. It's just stupid. Come on, man.